We are back with the finals of Big Thursday Night Modern at Magicon Vienna. And we are having the opponents facing off. Stefan Wolf on the left side and
Michael Pointen on the right side. And Michael is on Knightfall. He's playing, which is a deck that is designed to abuse the interaction of Knight of the Reliquary and Retreat to Corhelm to create a very, very large Knight by untapping it and getting more triggers by getting fetched and sacking them, tapping down your opponent's creatures and swinging them. Generally speaking, we've got the same 4 colors as in what we saw Nicola play in the last round. So we've got a band deck splashing red. He's splashing red for a copy of Cassie Wolfrun in his main deck and some sideboard options. Cassie Wolfrun allowing those really large knights to get trampled. Also generally good with his deck. Other than that, we have a value collected company band deck playing cards such as Spell Quellers, Eternal Witnesses, Tireless Trackers, and so on. A lot of Voices of Resurgence here. What does Stefan bring to the table here?
Stefan brings to the table a Jeskai control deck, a Jeskai Planeswalker control deck. Actually, we're playing 5 Planeswalkers in the main deck. He's playing the usual creatures like Spell Queller, 4 Snapcaster Mage, 4 Counterspell-wise, he's going with 4 Remand and 2 Cryptic Command, and he's not playing any Serum Visions. Has opted for Opt.
He's opted for Opt, yeah, and so he's playing a bit of a more mid-range version here of Jeskai Control, which is generally a bit better in these matchups because the Spell Quellers, as we saw if you watched the last round where Stefan played against Nicola, those Spell Quellers proved to be quite good, basically winning a game just by themselves.
Yes, because countering something and trying to race with a Spell Queller worked perfectly fine in the game before.
Also, Michael here, our Misted, he has a really spicy one-off in his list. He has 1 copy of Nissa, Steward of Elements, the X-Cost blue-green Nissa, which can generate value and also end the game out of nowhere because his deck is able to generate lots of mana quite quickly with his 7 dogs.
Yeah, by swinging with the ultimate of Nissa, Steward of Elements, removing 6
it's 6 counters, yeah.
Yes, creating 2 5/5 flying lands ready for the swing.
Yeah, hasty flying lands, yeah.
Hasty, so Stefan wins the die roll and he's going to play first.
Let's see what he's thinking of his opening 7 here. See, a hand that does not seem to be too heavy on lands. I think he has 1 expedition here. Stefan choosing to make his deck nicer by including some expeditions, which make it a bit hard on us, especially Mickey, but I think we've got them all covered by now. So if there's water on it, it's blue. If there's fire and water, it's blue-red. Otherwise, it's blue-white. And if there's just fire, it's red-white. I think that's what we agreed on.
Yeah, I think so.
Water, fire, something.
So, looks like Michael is a mulligan is doing a mulligan to 6.
While Stefan kept his 7 here, unclear how many lands he's had access to, but he seems to be happy enough. While Michael is mulliganing here. Michael probably knowing the matchup, you can't keep too many clunky hands, and you also want to be heavy on the action here because there's lots of 1/1 cheap removal in Stefan's deck, so you want to be heavy on action, not have too much mana, including mana dogs.
Yeah, Stefan is playing 3 Path to Exile, 3 Lightning Helix, and 4 Lightning Bolt to get rid of Michael's creatures.
Which land is this?
I do not know, I'm sorry, Steam Lands.
Yeah, it is.
It
is Steam Lands, he shocked himself going down to 18 and now he's opting end of turn.
So I think
the other land in his hand is a copy of Field of Ruins, which he plays as a 3-off.
Instead of Ghost Quarter.
Instead of Ghost Quarter, yeah, because getting the mana in this Jeskai list is better. You're happy to pay those 2 mana, but you don't want to go down a land drop permanently. So we see here a Lightning Helix on turn 2, aimed at Noble Hierarch, going back up to down to 19 after shocking himself with a Hellofan.
Yeah, so Michael is on the play. He's going to play Wall of Foothills, fetching.
Into Voice of Resurgence. We saw it before. Those voices proved to be very backbreaking for Stefan in at least 1 game where there were 2 voices on Nicola's side that made it really annoying for him to cast spells. And he doesn't have too many efficient answers. If you path a voice early, giving an additional land drop to mana hungry deck, which might be able to resolve a collected company earlier, is rough. Leaving the voice on the board makes all your instant speed interaction really annoying, and killing the voice with the removal spell creates an XX token that's as strong as the number of creatures you control. So let's see what Stefan can do here. He's found a 3rd land drop. He's going to fetch immediately with his copy of Flooded Strand. And let's see what he's up to then.
Yes, I think he had a remount in hand, so he basically has to handle the Voice of Resurgence somehow to can play the card.
Yeah, in this situation, if he has a boat here and leaves remount up, it's okay. He just gets hit by 1 with the token. It's annoying, but it's still the best way to main phase boated here if he has it, especially if that means he can leave remount up and counter a possible 3-drop from Michael here.
Yes, so we see a Sacred Foundry here. Yeah, it's a Sacred Foundry.
No water is the Sacred Foundry.
Going down to 17 life, or 16 life, I'm sorry, because of the fetch.
Gideon of the Trials is also quite a nice answer to the Voice. I mean, it still means your instant speed interaction is off, but at least you can keep ticking up on the Voice, you don't have to destroy it. Yes. Won't deal any damage until Stefan's next turn here.
So we'll see what the follow-up by Stefan will be. Maybe we see already a Knight 1 being deployed.
Yeah, the Knight of the Reliquary would already be a 4-4 here, which would be quite nice here with 2 fetchlands in the graveyard.
Yes.
Also able to fetch up some lands such as that. One of Cassie Wolf and also one of Gavony Township as targets here. And we see a Knight of the Reliquary deployed here. Like we said, it's a 4-4. We see what land he will get here. Not access to blue source yet, so it's probably going to be it can't just be blue, so it's probably going to be blue-white or blue-green. No blue-red land here, because red is just a splash that is supported by just a single copy of Stomping Ground in Michael's list. And we see the Hello Fountain being fetched up here. So he's access to 1 blue, 2 green, and 2 white mana at this point, fixing him quite nicely.
Yes, pretty nice actually. So I think it's Stefan's turn now. He's going to draw for his turn. And I think he needs to have a strong turn, otherwise he's getting off to...
Oh, he's got a Chandra. Now he can kill the Knight and keep ticking up on the Voice. And there's 2 Planeswalkers on the board here. While the Voice by Michael does no damage right now, so Michael needs to put something on the board here to get through those Planeswalkers, and the Tireless Tracker with a fetchland up is a very, very good one here, creating 2 tokens, and he fetches immediately to not open up himself to remove a spell in response to that fetch, meaning he gets 2 clue tokens straight away, which is a lot of value in this matchup. Yes. And even if the tracker gets resolved here, the Chandra is down to 1, the Gideon can only take care of 1 creature. Michael's still got a nice shot here.
But with the Chandra, Stefan can also +1 rule the top card and just get into a good card to play here.
Definitely, if he hits a good card like a 1-mana removal spell of the Chandra, that would be really nice. But the Chandra is a bit away from ticking down and killing a creature here.
Yes.
And yeah, he's actually fetching for an untapped breeding pool here, Michael is. And that means he's going to deploy a 1-mana creature here, a Noble Hierarch. So that's quite nice, but we see if Stefan has one of his 2 copies of Supreme Verdict, which we saw could be completely backbreaking in some situations, as we saw in that last game against Nicola, which just swept away a huge lethal board. And we see that plus per Chandra, you're talking about hitting a land, dealing 2 damage to Michael. You can't play that land of Chandra, can play it off the Chandra Pyromancer, but not of the Chandra Torch of Defiance, because this one specifies cast and not play.
This is true, but I think Stefan has 3 cards in hand currently, and 2 of them seem to be remounts, and 1 of them seems to be a land, so not really great for the board situation.
Because remount basically is just a brick here, you can't do anything. Remounting your opponent's spells and giving them a 4-4 is just not what you want to be doing. He might want to start remounting his own spells at some point, so he's playing a Spell Queller main phase here, just to protect his Planeswalkers, then he's plussing on the tracker and passing here. Spell Queller main phase, obviously, because of the Voice.
Yes. It's Michael's turn again. I think he drew another foothills for the turn.
Michael has like 1 or 2 turns to actually get something rolling, because once Stefan, with the help of that Chandra, draws out and is able to protect his...
It's a second Tireless Tracker with
but now he's going up to 4 clues, so Stefan needs to... It's Planeswalkers against clues. Stefan needs to find removal spells for those trackers really quickly here, because now we see a jump block here because of the Exalted trigger, not wanting to risk his Chandra here because he needs to get back into the game.
And Chandra can draw some cards for that.
Definitely. Chandra he needs to hit some removals, but preferably Supreme Verdict. We see if he's able to do that. He's going to plus with Chandra. He's going to hit Lightning Bolt, which is a nice start. He's able to bolt one of those Tireless Trackers, which is good.
He's going for the Voice of Resurgence, because I think he got...
Supreme Verdict in hand already.
Or Supreme Verdict. This would be a really great turn for Stefan.
Because otherwise I think I would rather go for the... we see he's going to plus the Gideon. So he does not have a Supreme Verdict, because otherwise he would attack with Gideon. So we see what he's got here. Interesting. Because I would have assumed he would kill one of those trackers, because those clue tokens will add up soon. So Stefan's thinking what he will do here. He's playing a Snapcaster Mage.
Nice.
What will be his target here?
I think it will be Lightning Helix.
On
Targeting
the
one of the
tracker.
tracker.
Yeah,
Yes.
and this is I don't like this play. I like this play, I didn't like the play before. You would have been able to get rid of both trackers here efficiently. And yeah, sure, the voice is annoying because of your remounts, but I think having the tracker in play here is more annoying. I think you would have to kill both. I would kill both trackers first, keep the voice, be annoyed by those remounts, but I'm able to have my planeswalkers and be able to get rid of the voice and use my remounts at a later point in the game. But I think that the value the tracker can provide here also growing here with cracking clues. And cracking clues makes it very likely that Michael will hit a land drop every turn. Means I would have preferred going for the tracker here straight away.
I think now I saw it would full tilts in Michael's hand. So another 2 clues for him. But he doesn't have to be afraid of losing his Stylus tracker by attacking or something like this.
No, because it's way bigger. The Snapcaster
Yes.
can only jump block it, but it's also plussed at by the Gideon.
Oh, it's also plus by getting, so attacking wouldn't make any sense.
Ooh,
Collected
collected company. Let's see what he's getting off there. He has access to some nice cards here.
I saw another Voice of Resurgence, which is being deployed in the Night of the
And the
Reliquary.
Knight of the Reliquary. So he's upping the pressure quite strongly here.
The pressure is real, I would say. The pressure
Stefan
is real.
really is pressure to find one of his copies of Supreme Verdict very soon, because
He needs-
those
yes.
planeswalkers will be overwhelmed by the increasing number of creature on Michael's side of the board here quite quickly, I assume.
Yes, I assume so too, but the Night of the Reliquary is still a 4/4, I would say.
No, it's not a 4/4. I see 1, 2,
It's a
4, 5 lands in the graveyard
5 lands
here.
in the grave, so we got
I think
a
it's 5
7/7.
lands, so we got a 7/7. It might be just 4 lands in the graveyard.
Yes, and Michael is going back up to 4 clues by fetching with his Wooded Foothills.
Yeah, that's nice. The fetch lands in his deck are very good. He's playing 4
Yes.
color mana base. He has lots of interactions. They power up the knight. They make the tireless trackers better. They make the courses better. So the fetch lands are quite strong in Michael's deck. He can do lots of fancy things with them, including his retreat to Coralhelm combo.
Yes, and now we see Michael having access to 6 lands and 1 Noble Hierarch for clues and 1 card in hand, and Stefan is sitting on 2 or 3 cards in hand. So Michael is clearly at the advanced position here with his bar presence.
He could even tutor up a Cassic Wolf for next turn if somehow Stefan focused on jump blockers here, but that's not what his deck is doing.
No.
But this Chandra now, that card, that Hello Fountain, should go to the exile. We also have the Expedition Hello Fountain. It accidentally goes to the graveyard, but it doesn't really matter too much here. It can't be cast, and 2 damage will be dealt to Michael, putting him down to 8, but Stefan's still sitting on those remounts, and now is those pretty much blank planeswalkers. They're not protected at all by creatures or anything. And here we see that if Stefan had killed that Tyler's tracker next turn, Michael would have a tracker less, he would have a second voice instead of the elemental, and he would have 2 clues less, which I think would be nice, because then you could just Gideon up on the knight, and you would not face a lot of damage, and now you're facing a lot more damage with the game state as it is.
Yeah, currently Michael is having a 5/4 Dallas tracker, a 7/7 Knight of the Dragon Rally, which can still be activated. He's having a 5/5 elemental, and yeah.
Maybe Stefan, if he has a cryptic, it could be nice here, because you would get a token, but you could just tap, draw, and then maybe draw with the Chandra, draw into a verdict and clean up all the mess. But if he does not have a cryptic here, he will take a lot of damage, him or his planeswalkers.
Yes.
We see Gideon at 8 here and Chandra at 4, with the knight being able to do a lot of damage already. Because if that... Do you remember, did you see exactly what was targeted by the Gideon's possibility?
I think it was the Alice tracker, but I'm not really
Okay, sure, because I think it's better to target the tracker here, because if you target the knight, you can just use the activated ability instead of attacking. And so with the targeting the tracker, you get 1 big attacker completely out of the way.
And here is the second Voice of Resurgence, I think the third being played in this game.
Yeah, 1 in the graveyard.
Not really a good situation for Stefan to be in. He needs to draw a verdict, and even so, he's facing 2 tokens, and most likely his...
There's also 4 clues still. 4 clues.
Yes, 4 clues.
That's
Got another
4
one again
more
this turn.
cards.
Yes.
And the tracker is still on the board. Has Mikey played a land this turn?
Yes, I think
Okay.
he has played a land this turn, because he sacked 1 clue, got...
So we see the
down to
voice
3
attacking
clues
the Gideon
got
and
another one.
the elemental and the knight going
Yes.
with Chandra, killing the Chandra, attacking the Chandra with 2 lethal threats if a room moves by word to be played, and leaving the Gideon at 6. So Stefan really needs a verdict and something else here soon. We see a Sphinx's Revelation just for 2 at the end, but it gives him some more options. And he really needs the verdict here because we see two voice tokens created that are both 8/8, so 16 powers additionally on the board.
24 actually, yeah. Additionally 16, 24 with the other Voice of Resurgence token.
Yeah.
And on Stefan's side, we only have Gideon of Trial, which is not able to handle this situation.
No, Gideon is a nice card, but Gideon is not good against those decks that swarm the board at all, because it's good against decks that threaten you with single large creatures. It's very efficient against these, but you don't want to have it against the deck where your opponent is just throwing lots of creatures at you.
No, I'm on your side with this. So Stefan has to think, did he draw the Supreme Verdict, or didn't he? Most likely, if you drew it, he already would have played it. So
yeah,
it
he's just
like
making an emblem here. So he's forcing. He didn't draw it. Probably it means he's just forcing his opponent to deck down to Gideon to maybe give him another turn, another opportunity at hitting that Supreme Verdict. But we see what he found here. He has access to 5 lands, but he's just passing the turn here. And at the end of Stefan's turn, Michael cracks one of those clues, and now he untaps with a huge board. Maybe Stefan drew a copy of Cryptic Command here, which, as we said before, would still give him 2 additional draws and buy him another turn. So he just tap down the team.
Draws are crucial, but I think even after the draws, Stefan needs to have something.
Yeah, but he has a lot of cards in hand, so I'm sure some of them do something. But none of them wasn't a land. Stefan didn't play a 6th land, so that means that he has a hand chock full of spares. But most of the spares don't do anything against this board, so he needs to somehow get a verdict here, and we see if he's able to do that. And if he doesn't have a Cryptic, he will die soon. So just one of the creatures has to attack the Gideon here and all the others, and we have to retreat to Korhan, which with the Knight combo also means that you can make a lot of things here.
This situation really doesn't look good for Stefan. And I'm currently not seeing any Supreme Verdict in his hand. I'm seeing another Chandra, I think.
So Knight activates with sack the forest here. Let's see what he gets here if he wants to make the Knight even quicker. Bigger, he might also just go for making a bit of mana and getting a copy of Castle Wolfram, because that would make any single of his threats that don't get killed or don't get blocked in the end. He might get it in the end. He might still make his Knight a bit bigger, get a few triggers. So basically, the fetch land gives him 1 Retreat of Korham trigger, which he uses to untap the Knight. And then he will crack the fetch land and will get another trigger. So basically every land he gets him 2 triggers. So once he untaps the Knight, and he gets an additional trigger each turn, which you can use to create mana with your Noble Hierarch. You can use it to tap down opposing creatures, which are not happening right now. Or if you have any additional triggers, you might even use the Retreat's other ability, which is Scry 1. So let's see what he does here. But it's for Michael, it's just figuring how, in this situation, all you need to do is you figure out, how can I play around as many things my opponent can have? You're so far ahead on board. Yes, you're on 8 life, but you're so far ahead on board, you're just figuring out to make the play that gives you the highest chance to win the game through whatever your opponent might have. And now we see an attack after this just one fetch. An attack with all the creatures that have power. We see where they're going. Probably it seems like we have 2 elementals going to Gideon here and the rest. Stefan, same procedure as last turn. 2 attackers, because 1 removal spell would still mean the Gideon would die.
Yes. So is this going to be a lethal attack?
At this point, we have 4, we have 11, we have 19. Yeah, we definitely have more than 21 power being directed at Stefan right now, so he has to do something here. Remand is not going to cut it, so we see Snapcaster. We see what he has access to here in his graveyard.
Michael is thinking. He's getting another voice token.
Yeah, he's getting 2 more voice tokens.
2, sorry, yes. 2 voices.
And then he will use a Path to Exile on the Snapcaster Mage. And that means that he's got rid of another blocker, and the Snapcaster might kill something here, but it's still looking very rough here. So at this point, if the Flashback spell kills one of the attackers here, the biggest one of either the token or the Knight or the tireless tracker, I think the tracker is not the biggest, then Stefan might have another turn here, but it's still not looking good for him. He's just flashing his graveyard here and his...
Oh, okay. Stefan scoops it up.
Because he only has a Lightning Helix in his graveyard, which can't kill any of the creatures that attack him, so he doesn't have any answers. He really needed to draw some Path to Exiles here in this matchup, but he didn't. So, what can we see? So, while game 1 here was won by Michael by just relentlessly pounding Voices of Resurgences and making a lot of value of those Tiger Strikers. What changes here in terms of sideboarding, Michi?
Well, on Stefan's side, he has quite some good cards for this matchup in his sideboard, like we saw in his last game. I think he for sure will bring in his Engineered Explosive to handle the board state. And maybe against the combo we will see maybe one Resting Piece, Disenchant, or one or two Verdura possible. And maybe a Dispel to counter Collected Company, which is crucial in this matchup, as we saw right before, because the Collected Company really brought an edge to Michael's gameplay.
Sure, but the combo is not actually good in this matchup. The combo is horrible in this matchup. Basically,
the company.
Yeah, the company is good, the combo is bad. Basically, Knightfall plays the combo to get some more free wins out of matchups like Tron and interactive matchups that will just crush you. Basically, without playing the combo, you would just get crushed by Tron all the time. With playing the combo, you have the out of just turn 3, turn 4 in your opponent sometimes, which gives you free wins, which makes those matchups better. In this matchup, I agree with the Engineer Explosive, which are still, they're not the best board wipe, but they're able to deal with multiple creatures at once. Dispel is great against Collected Company. The Resting Piece here would deal with Eternal Witnesses. It would mean the Knights of the Reliquary permanent 2/2s. They would also be able to make killing the Voice with Burn Spells a lot easier here.
And what does Michael Pointner have on his
So
side?
Michael has in his sideboard here some sweet things. So like Nicola last round, the band base he also has exactly 2 copies of Geistesfan Draft, which is again is a good card. It can pressure Stefan very quickly. He can also go over the top with the copy of Elspeth Sun's Champion, the 6-mana Planeswalker that makes a lot of tokens. We also have 2 negates to fight the counter war, and that's pretty much it here from the board. So we have 5 very nice cards that Michael can bring in here. I would definitely take out the Retreat Coral Helms. As we said, they're not necessary in this matchup. You can, and then you trim down on some of the creatures. The Pride Mage is not necessary. You have 3 cuts, and then you have to figure out. Most of the other cards actually look quite nice here in Michael's list. Maybe the Spell Quellers can be trimmed simply because they die to the Lightning Bolts and Lightning Helix for a tempo loss on mana, because they can just die to 1 mana removal spell easily that Stefan has access to a lot.
This is true, but I'm seeing 7 mana Darks on Michael's side. Do you think he should cut 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of this?
Depends on how his mana base looks. Yeah, in those matchups where you expect board wipe, I would cut some of them. I think the Hierarch is still better than a Bird because it can help you with pressuring it more. So I think this is reasonable. You board out the Pride Mage, you can board out the 2 Coral Helms and 2 Birds, meaning you're down to 5 mana Darks from 7, I think. We see if we can have a glimpse after the game what actually happened with Michael, but I think this, just for me, I haven't played this deck, but that on the surface, theory craftingly, this looks like a very nice sideboarding option for him.
I think this looks perfectly fine, I would say so.
So let's see what happens here in game 2.
Yes, both players are shuffling up their deck again. Stefan is already presenting his. He finished shuffling. Michael is still shuffling a little bit. Now both cut their decks.
And we'll have Stefan on the play again, which also is good for him. But before that, it was quite good. He had those Planeswalkers down, but then he just had a bit of a slump because he had those remands. So those remands might be out again because now we have even more Voices of Resurgence. It's really annoying to try to remand things.
And I already saw the first sideboard card. It's Surgical Extraction from Stefan's side.
Ooh, he brought in the Surgical.
Yes.
This is interesting. The Surgical is okay against Eternal Witness, but that's just a 2 of... It really doesn't do anything against anything else in Michael's decks. I'm not a huge fan of the Surgical here. Generally, I think that people tend to overboard on Surgical Rock. They think your opponent plays, I know, I'm going to counter that Collected Company. I'm going to get rid of all the Collected Companies.
We
saw a really nice hand here by Michael, I think. His access to his turn 1 over higher, his access to a lot of other good tools. But what I was saying is, this is not happening that often. The games where you have a Surgical Extraction, it's basically a mulligan, a way higher than those where you counter your opponent's first Collected Company or they resolve it and you get rid of additional copies.
So he's calling it on from Stefan's side. Now it's Michael's turn again. He threw, I think, into a Voice of Resurgence, and he's going to deploy the Voice of Resurgence. And is he playing a land? Yes, he's playing Adept Breeding Pool.
Yeah, he's not playing the land first to conceal that he has the opportunity of a land drop because it might change Stefan's play here. So this is a smart play because it is more valuable here to than getting into 1 damage with the Noble Hierarch, I think, because you're both bluffing and you're also saving some damage yourself. And because Stefan has access to spell quests and a lot of burn spells, the 2 life might be valuable because they might turn into races, those games as well.
Yes, those games clearly can turn into races, and as we see, Stefan has a spell Queller in hand, which is basically currently dead. Maybe he's going to deploy it. Nah, he's not going to deploy it this turn because Michael has Voice of Resurgence and Noble Hierarch with the Exalted Trigger in play. Stefan is passing the turn, so maybe most likely he's not going to play anything.
I think I would have probably preferred playing the main phase spell Queller to nothing. Like,
yes,
it's just using a mana, you're not blocking with it, but at least you can attack back.
Yes.
But now he's playing a spell Queller at the end of turn, running into the Voice Trigger, and I'm like, I'm not completely... okay, so he's just blocking, jumping the Voice here with the spell Queller, giving him another token. Maybe he has that Supreme Verdict in hand already, because this... I'm a bit confused by that play. Otherwise, it plays nicely with Supreme Verdict, but we see now we have a tracker here with the Fetchland again.
With it foothills.
2 additional clues up for Michael. So Michael showed us that hand before. It was basically stacked. It had everything. It had the turn 1 acceleration. It had the turn 2 disruptive Voice of Resurgence, and then it has this Haymaker in tracker, which just generates a lot of value very, very quickly in this modern format. With like we said here, we had Nicola in the last match with access to 10 fetchlands. Here Michael has access to 9 fetchlands, which is still plenty to turn on that tracker and make it poop out 2 clues in a turn frequently.
2 clues getting bigger. Dallas Tracker in this matchup is an amazing card if it can be deployed, because it just generates so much card advantage that Control Deck
Which land is this?
tip up. A Sacred Foundry.
Yeah, Sacred Foundry again. Yeah, Tyler's Tracker is sweet. I played it once in Modern. I played at GP Copenhagen last year. I played Black Green Rock with Tyler's Trackers, and the only match I was the Black Green Rock Mirror, so not the most successful GP experience, but Tyler's Tracker was sweet sometimes. I really like that card.
Yes, and we see a Windswept Heath, bringing him up to 3 clues, and if he decides to fetch up to 4 clues, and he has currently 4 lands and 1 Noble Hierarch available, but he's going to attack first.
And this attack is already for 9 here, and cracking a clue would make it higher, would make the power, increase the power, but there's no need for Michael to crack the clue in this situation. It's just passing here, because he has lots of options. Now we see a copy of Opt in the main phase here from Stefan. He's really looking for that answer.
Yes. Did he draw it?
He has access to lands. I don't think I see a copy of Supreme Verdict, because that would have the gold card border, which should be quite recognizable, but I can't recognize one of them right now. We see Engineered Explosives for 0, which is not the very most efficient answer. Then we see Path to Exile at Voice. This is all good, but this is all too late. If we would have seen this a couple turns early, but now that Tracker just has already generated so much value, and Michael will probably be able to time it in a way that he gets an additional clue out of the tracker with his fetch land, and it's already 4 clues.
Yes, the tracker actually stays in play and is still active. Michael is up to 4 clues. He can even still fetch with his Windswept Heath, going to 5 clues. But being over 4 clues and having disadvantage in the game state, I think he doesn't even need to. I think at the end of turn we will see Collected Company or another... or just
cracking clues is good too, but we see the Collected Company.
He's going for the win next turn. Because currently Stefan doesn't have Cryptic Command mana open.
And Stefan doesn't have a remand here now. Maybe he did board them out, and now we see what this company is going to hit. The negate is not going to do much, but we see if he had hit some creatures too.
I see at least 1 knight, or is it a Geist of Saint Raft? Can't clearly see it, but I see another Dallas Tracker.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw the second tracker.
It's a Geist of Saint Raft.
Yeah, this is the WMCQ, whatever, some weird promo version of the Geist.
Cool promo version.
Which looks different and way better than Tyler's Tracker. We see Eternal Witness, which will attempt to get the company back. And here, while Stefan is getting beat down, his Surgical actually does something here. This is one of the situations where the Surgical is really good, because he gets to stop the Witness and also getting rid of any additional collective companies, but we see a chuckle here of Stefan. He's like, I'm getting those out, but oh my god, you're bored, and also
Stefan is down to 7 left. The board state is kind of amazing from Michael's side, and it pretty looks bad for Stefan, to say this. Stefan keeps looking at his stack, is giving his stack back to his opponent, and I think we shortly going to see Michael's swing for the win. Okay, Michael is deciding to fetch end of turn.
And then in response we'll see him get rid of this, but there's already a lot of power on the board. Stefan is extending his hand. He just has another land on the Gideon of the Trials.
Yes, and the game is over. And
we saw the Rest in Peace come in here, and he's just flipping cards over, and he was like, there was no Supreme Verdict in the top 10 cards of his deck or something, so he would have needed to wait for a bit.
Sadly not. But a nice fun fact here, Engineered Explosive would have killed the clues too.
Engine Explosive would have killed the clues too, definitely.
Unnecessary in this situation, but maybe there are other situations where this play would have been a really good value play. And
that play would have been great if Stefan weren't dead on the board. Like, you know, if he got rid of 4 clues while Michael was tapped out, and he was also able to deal with the board at the same time, he would have been able to get back into this game here. But the thing here is that Michael just had the kind of perfect hand. And the thing is, with Stefan's list, is like this Voice of Resurgence is just a huge problem. Like, Stefan's hand was not too great this game, but the Voice of Resurgence was the main problem. This is really annoying. So sometimes, like, the only really good answer Jeskai is available to it is Anger of the Gods, which Stefan is not playing here. This is nice, but playing Anger of the Gods with Spell Quellers, when Spell Quellers are a good plan. So here we're seeing, we saw 1 Surgical, 1 Rest in Peace, 2 Explosives come in, and we see the Remands being taken out here, which are to be expected. I like Stefan's sideboarding here. I would have probably preferred the Dispel over the Surgical, but other than that, that's pretty efficient sideboarding here, but he just didn't draw the cards that really mattered in his matchup post-board.
Sadly, he did not. Path to Exile was far too late, but he did everything he could, but still lost this matchup because of the overwhelming bot presence and card advantage from Michael's side. And here we are seeing Runed Halo being discussed as a support option against Knight of the Reliquary.
Stefan probably was like, I didn't bring it in, but what do you think? And we see, if I were Michael, I would assume Michael would probably agree, and I think I agree with Stefan's decision here to not bring in the Runed Halo. Because it can stop those knights, but it's still a bit limited because the Knightfall deck has a lot of different threats and can turn any land in a threat with Cassie Groove. And the problem with putting Runed Halo on Knight is that Knight can still activate every single turn. And so we have Michael Pointner. He's going 5-0 here with Knightfall. Nissa Knightfall, if you want to call it that, because he's the spicy one of a deck here.
Sure, yes.
And Stefan coming second with Jeskai, Planeswalker, mid-range control, whatever you want to call it. Also a really sweet list.
It's a nice list with a lot of Planeswalkers, which I like, and really good Jeskai shell. Pretty solid, pretty good deck.
But we saw that those Planeswalkers, they're very good in some matchups, but in these creature matchups, we saw Stefan establish 2, but they weren't able to pull their weight here with especially Gideon of the Trials just not doing much, ticked up to 8, created an emblem, all in all did nothing.
He needed to try Supreme Verdict there, which he sadly did not. So, these were the finals of Big First Tonight Modern and Magic Corner Vienna.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching very much. If you liked the video, thumbs up. If you have any questions or want to talk about stuff, comment below, and see you next time.
See you next week. Thanks. Bye, guys.